What is going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 113 of the Pre-Patch Podcast. It is a duo cast tonight. It is myself and Billy Boo holding it down for the fort.
It's a little bit empty in here. I have room to spread my arms out to go a little bit higher without having to tickle robot balls. So
get all those 8 tentacles just moving around, you know.
Spread them on out there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good show either way. But we are unfortunately down 2 people. We have Enigma, who is still dealing with some issues, some back issues and some health issues. So send all the healing vibes and wah his way. Make sure that he gets better. And then Scruffy is dealing with an emergency as well. So so it's just gonna be myself and Bill holding it down. There was talks about possibly moving the show, but too many good things happened this week. Too many good games came out, and so we were like, damn it, we're gonna do the show. We got a commitment. We're gonna keep to it. So so how you been, Bill? How's the week been for you?
It's been good. It's been solid. A lot of stuff I'm excited to talk about with everybody on the show today. But yeah, it's been a very eventful week. Got some fun, exciting news on 2 fronts for me personally, both Elden Ring and Final Fantasy VII news specifically. Plus, I'm playing a game I've never played before, which we're not going to talk about, but it's Monster Hunter World, and that's been fun. Just little schnippity snip of that is it's been a good time.
I have a question. I don't know if it bodes well, but my Jewish star fell off my necklace just as the show started, so I don't know what that means. But yeah, okay, all right, well, that happened. So anyway, it's just weird because it's like a nervous tick that I have where I always grab for my necklace. Anyway,
fumble with it.
Yeah. So no, it's the news this week has been there's been a decent amount, a lot in the gaming space, not necessarily a lot in the gaming like sole video game industry. I mean, we had like movie stuff come out that we're gonna talk about. We got a lot of great news to talk about. New spicy trailers dropped that we're gonna spend a good amount of time as well talking, going through and talking over. And so but yeah, no, it's been good, man. A lot of it's crazy because the drought that we did have for gaming, where it was like there's not really a lot to play.
Big gone.
Bro, it's just like every week this in February has been a banger. Like it's just been a phenomenal time. So I'm super excited to talk about all the different things that we've got going on. So but yeah, so with that, let's kick off. And we actually I don't think Bill's not gonna be able to hear it, unfortunately, but we have gaming music, at least tentatively for right now, as we switch over to the new gaming segment. It's very cute. Anyway, so we're gonna talk about what we've been playing, gaming wise, and we'll kick off with what I've been playing. I'm actually this is a game that I was not expecting to actually get into.
How many we got tonight from you?
I've got I'm technically covering one of Scruffy's. So in reality, I'm at what 3. It's not bad. 3. That's it.
3. Okay.
So,
yeah,
that's not bad. Yeah. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Could definitely be a lot worse.
All that did was lag, not trigger the transition. What are you talking about? I just did the transition. No, did it really? There. Now you got it again. How about that? All right. Anyway, let's go into the first game, which is Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. So first and foremost, I'm not a huge Deep Rock Galactic fan. I didn't really care about the original video game. Wasn't like
whoa. Are we starting off with a fight already? Deep Rock Galactic's one of the best indie games that came out. I don't know how. Like I'm not saying it's like it'd be. It seems like it'd be right up your alley. You like that like roguelike procedurally generated like.
Yeah, I don't know.
You tend to vibe with that kind of stuff.
I just never got into it. I don't know why. I tried it a couple times, just never kind of really stuck with me. I am no way.
Is it the bugs? Is it too many bugs?
No,
you don't like bugs.
No, I think I don't know what it was. I just kind of just was like, I don't know. It just was not my thing. I just did not like fall in love with it. Like I think a lot of people thought I would, or like you said, it's right up my alley. Yeah. I don't know. So
I mean, you like Risk of Rain, right? It has a very
Yeah,
risky rain vibe
yeah,
to it.
I like
Okay,
Risk of Rain.
well, that's
A-
your prerogative.
Again, very odd as to why I did not like fall in love with the first or Deep Rock Galactic. But I have absolutely fallen in love with Deep Rock Galactic Survivor to the point that is actually in the Survivor genre, which is I think what this is now being called, like either Vampire Survivor genre. I am coining it as Survivor genre. I know there's survival, but this is Survivor. Um,
Yeah, I'm with you there.
it is. This is actually one of my top three. So
Really,
yeah,
that good.
it goes like this and Death Must Die are tied for like first, like 1 and 2, and then you've got Soulstone Survivor as my my third one. I am not a huge Vampire Survivor. Like I don't knock Vampire Survivor. I just was I saw what it was. It created an entire genre. Good for Vampire Survivor. Good for that
Yeah,
guy. But I knew it was just a matter of time until somebody picked it up and did something even more with it, which is what is happening.
and then all of the mobile game spam that is trash apps that try to mimic
Yeah.
it too.
Oh, absolutely. And
That's
but
why I can't take the genre seriously. But
so and same, like there's just a new one that pops up every fucking week and it just really sucks.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know why it sucks, but it does. So anyway, we're now, here with this one, and this came out and I had seen it and I was like, again, I'm not really a huge, Deep Rock guy. Like I'm not gonna jump on it at first. But then I watched more and more of it and I was just like, yo, you know what? I'm in. I'm down. Let me give it a shot. So first off, it's on Steam. It's $9 total. So
Okay.
a little bit. It's more than
Wait,
your typical
$9?
$9. Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
typically they're like 5, right? This
It
genre,
just depends. Like they range anywhere
5 to
from
7.
3 all the way up to maybe 20, depending. Like I think Soulstone Survivor was like in the $15-20 range, if I remember correctly. Usually, again, inexpensive. You're not a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
But the good ones I would say like Death Must Die, that one I think is like maybe $10, $12 at most.
Is it out full yet?
What, Death Must Die or this one?
Yeah, Death Must Die.
I'd have to go and look and see. I don't
Okay.
know if Death Must Die is open. Let me take a look.
Regardless.
Death Must Die I think is still, I'm checking right now. No, it's still in early access, and so is this game.
Okay.
So is Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. So let's talk about the game that we have at hand. So Deep Rock Galactic Survivor is in the Deep Rock universe. First and foremost, the dialogue is fucking amazing. These dwarves are fucking shit talking the fuck out of everything. Actually, to the point that they actually had to cut one of the lines out because, and I get it, it said "die like your mother did." That's a little harsh. Like it's a little rough.
That's also a line from the first, like the original. Like
yeah. So
it's weird.
I don't know, but they're taking it out. I don't know if they're going to move it from the original, but they are removing it from this one or tweaking it a little bit. But like the dialogue in there, they cuss at the bugs. Like they're just the whimsicalness that is the game. Dialogue is there and it hits it perfect. What I like about this one though is that you have to mine. Like it's not just a straight like, oh, go around and just survive as long as you can, like a lot of these are. This one actually has elements to where you're having to mine. And if you're with us live, and again, by the way, we do this live every Thursday here on Twitch and YouTube, but if you are with us live, you're actually able to see the gameplay that we're showing, and you're seeing the footage where you actually have to mine like gold, you have to mine nitrate. That's what allows you to upgrade after each phase. And then you also, as you're seeing here, you have to mine these other elements, which if you die, you then or if you complete the mission, right? I think they call it the delve or whatever it may be. I forgot what they call it, but once you complete that, then you use this extra minerals that you've mined to level up your character, so that every time that you go down, you are mining faster, you have a bigger health bar, those types of things. So they thought about it.
I was wondering how they were going to take the original game's mechanics and kind of integrate into this, because it seemed like a very odd genre switch between the two.
Absolutely, it does, and that's again where I was kind of like, this is just a money grab, until I started playing it, and you don't. This is all controlled via WASD, so there is no mouse movement. You're not aiming. You're not doing anything like that, which is a departure from like Death Must Die, where you do aim your attacks. Um, this one you also aren't just surviving until you're dead. Like you basically have a timer that is constantly running to where you have to kill some of the like bigger elites. So one of them is like the Vittoria, then it's Matoria, then it's like the Dreadnought is the last one that you have to kill. And during that, there'll be different things that spawn up and that happen. Like you'll have a situation where like a drop will come in, and it doesn't always happen at the exact same time, but it's around the same kind of time frame within each drop or each stage that you go deeper and deeper into. But it does it gives you like these different upgrades and these different things that you can do during the run.
So
And
you
then
don't call in the drop yourself.
Nope.
It's like the random drops for you.
Yes, it's a random
Okay.
drop that drops down, and then you have to clear the area around it. So it's not just like go and grab the drop. You have to go clear all of the rocks that may be around it, and then you capture the
Okay.
drop. And then or you call down the drop from the beacon. So you capture the beacon, the drop comes down. What I love about that too is you can also be very strategic about it, because as the drop comes down, it'll squash bugs for you.
Okay.
And if you're strategic enough about it, you can like set up these paths because of the way that you mine, where
And
like
funnel 'em.
you're funneling in, and then there's these ones that explode, and you just set off this like chain reaction of explosion that just clear like everything on the map really nicely. And it's just, they have different, like there's a scout, there's the engineer, there are the
That was my
different.
next question: was
Yep.
how do the classes feel in
Yep. They
like,
all
do they
feel.
differentiate
Yep.
pretty decently?
Yep. So they all feel very different. Each one of them has their own kind of unique like weapons that you get. So your scout and your or like the very first one that you get, and which I think is the scout, and I think the engineer, you have the option of getting like just a assault rifle to start with. This character that I'm on right now is this may be the engineer, and you get the your starting weapon is a Gatling gun. But
Okay.
the ability that happens with the Gatling gun is because each one of them have their own specific abilities, and you'll see this like little droid that's like kind of following me around. Once you shoot 100 bullets, then it releases 8 shots that are like really powerful. So it kind of directs you and saying like, hey, like you want to go for fire rate, like because you're firing more bullets, which means that this is shockwave is going off.
Right. Right.
They just like everything about it, like the abilities that you get, the way that you level up your guns. You'll get grenades, you'll get like, they have like acid turrets, they have electrical fences that you'll put up. I just
Is there
like
zip lines or anything like that?
not that I've seen, but I've also not
Okay.
gotten to
Because I
the
know with
further
like the
classes.
scout and the engineer in the original, like mobility was like their big aspect, and with this being kind of like a 2D plane or like a top-down plane type thing, I know that aspect is gonna be not as heavily emphasized, but
Yeah.
I'm sure they adjusted
I
it
don't,
in other
yeah,
ways.
I have not yet seen like a zip line. Again, I'm still, not fairly early on. I've played probably close to like 10 hours of it. And, I've unlocked some of my characters, but you also continue to unlock more like delves. So like once you go through the first area and you beat the dreadnought, then it's like, cool, you've now unlocked this biome. And so now you're into this biome and you're getting different minerals that, will open up to fourth tier like stuff. So, yeah, so like it's really cool. Like I just, like I said.
I honestly enjoy it, man. From watching it, I think the most underrated aspect of it is actually being able to manipulate the map and like properly funnel, because that was one of my biggest issues with other games in this genre was the maps are static. You kind of at some point get like if you get power creeped, and this kind of gives you a little bit more wiggle room to work around it while you build up power. If you are having maybe a bad RNG run at the start, you can still use that map manipulation to kind of alter things in your favor, to stall things out a little bit more so than you can in, say, Vampire Survivors or other games in the genres.
Yeah. No, that I do love that feature of it. The other thing that I like about it too is it gets stressful. Like you'll see, like in I don't know if you'll see it on this run, but you'll see where like I will go through and clear out the level, it gets done, and then all of these things are just lying around, and you only have like 20 seconds to get back to the ship. And if you don't get back to the ship within 20 seconds, the run's over, you're dead. So yeah. Um, it's a lot of fun. It continuously keeps pushing you forward. You want to keep playing it. Like I don't know, man. Like the classes feel very unique, very different. It's super,
Dope.
super, super enjoyable.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. So that was Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. You can pick it up on Steam right now. Like I said, I think it's $8.99 full price. It is in early access, so they are going to be adding more content to it as it goes. Yeah, super, super dope. In fact, actually, there is not has anything to do with this game, but there's actually possibly a TV adaptation for Deep Rock Galactic that may be made.
That would be amazing.
So
Like the writing and the line, like the base lore that Deep Rock has set up, even if it isn't like heavily emphasized in the game, it's a fun universe, man. I think that would make an honestly really entertaining comedy.
yeah, I think so too. But by the way, real quick, guys, I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna move so if you're on the Twitch side, guys, head over to the YouTube side. I'm gonna bring down the
You mean
Twitch
the
stream.
other way?
Huh? No, I'm gonna bring the Twitch side down and go over to YouTube.
Well, YouTube's down, so don't do that.
Oh, well, it shows on mine that YouTube's up. So, okay, well, weird. Well, if you're on the YouTube side, go over to the Twitch side.
Yeah, do that
of
because
things.
Twitch is fine.
Okay,
YouTube died.
Don't know why. Okay, interesting. Well, cool. So Deep Rock Galactic Survivor getting a TV show. Yes, I would watch it. I think it's gonna go to Apple. I think it's who they said that it would possibly be heading over to.
Apple's low key been doing pretty decent with their shows. Like, say what you want about Apple, I actually like quite a bit of the Apple TV shows.
I do too. Tetris was amazing. Dude, Tetris was fucking great. And I think that Apple also has Ted Lasso, if I'm not mistaken, which also I've heard is amazing. I have not watched it myself, but I have heard
Mythic Quest is another one. If you haven't watched Mythic Quest, that's my personal favorite off of Apple TV. It kind of memes Blizzard and World of Warcraft, like that development team. It's a comedy in that style.
Yeah, well, I'll have to take a look at it then for sure. Cool. So moving on to the other game that I've been playing, and actually myself and Scruffy have been playing, so you're gonna get it from Scruffy's point of view because he streamed it. But go wait. This is Nightingale. So this is actually a game that all of us
you say all of us, and then it always does not include me.
I thought you were excited. I say that because I thought you were excited about that. I'm sorry. I thought you were also excited about Nightingale.
Nah, unfortunately not.
Well, I will say myself, Enigma, and Scruffy were excited about Nightingale. It has had a troubled development cycle. Like it got pushed and delayed. It was supposed to come out last year. And it got pushed into early 2024. And now it is in early access. And so here's what I'll say, right? So the game,
what is the game first?
Okay, it is a survival game. It's a survival game. Like that's exactly what it is. It's purely
okay, so like is it along the lines of like Valheim and stuff like that?
Yes, very, very close to Valheim in a lot of the ways that they treat like sleeping, they treat like housing, different effects, like berries that you'll eat, food that you'll consume, all of those kind of things. Very, very Valheim. And I will say that it plays similar to Rust with like some of the combat systems or whatever else.
Very arcadey.
Yeah. This is not like a super in your face, like gonna be very like Daisy or ultra realistic. Like it's not. It's a very arcadey. And I would even say on the survival side, like it's lighter. Like it has very much of like the like you're not going to sit there and be always got to be like, oh fuck, I always got to eat. You know, like you do have a stamina. Your green, like if you're watching again the stream, the green bar is your food. The blue bar is like your stamina. And or like not stamina, like I don't know how to call it. Like they have two different versions. No, they have two different versions of stamina. So you have that meter where like you'll get tired. I guess that's like your rest meter as a as like a sleep meter, but it's not
Because
like
technically there's 3 staminas, because there's the one directly underneath of your character that's like slowly counting down as you're running.
right. Like so that is your true stamina. But if your sleep meter or whatever that meter is gets low, then your stamina goes to 10. Like you have nothing. So it's also you're balancing
It's
that
resource management, yeah.
right. But not, but it's very light. Like you don't
Okay.
It's not anything kind of crazy. What I love about the game is one, it works. Like the game functions pretty well.
I would hope so.
Like it doesn't.
We don't see that enough in gaming these days, so I'm happy that that's a check in the box.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't like. And when I say okay, I will say when I say it runs fine, like it works and it plays well. Like yeah, I have had crashes. Like I have crashed, 3 times with it. So I am taking that into consideration.
So it works when it wants to.
Yes, but like when you're talking about like a lot of these games, when you look at like Icarus, when you look at even Valheim, when you look at a lot of these survival games that go into early access, like they're buggy, they're fucking like rubber banding all over the place.
Is that an excuse we should be accepting though? Because I don't accept
no,
it. I think if you're gonna put a product out there for a price, you can't just slap the early access title on it and assume that people are going to accept the flaws. Although I am digging this Mary Poppins ass umbrella move.
Yes, we'll get to the umbrella, but so that's where I'm like, you're absolutely right. I don't think that it's okay to just be like, oh, it's early access, so it's okay to just be unplayable or be shitty. Like you said, if you're asking money from people, it should be at least somewhat playable. And that's
it should be 100% playable. I don't personally like early access in general. Like,
I don't mind crashes. Like if I crash, I'm okay. Like I said, I crashed 3 times and I'm okay with the crashing because it's minimalistic based on how much I play.
Experience.
But like I would like if it was like I boot up, I crash, I boot up, I crash, I boot up, I crash. Like that's problems. Like I would boot up, I'd play it for perfectly fine and then not have any issues and all, and then I would crash. Usually what I found when I was crashing, when I was trying to connect to Scruffy's world, so maybe it's a server issue that's causing, or like Scruffy was connecting into my world, like that's when I would crash. But I will say, like, again, rubber banding, not a thing. Like, building, not a problem. Like I had no issues playing the game. It played fine. What I like about it is the genre, or not genre, but the world that they're in. Like we don't see a lot of games go into this like steampunky fantasy world, and that's where this is playing within. So
it's a high tech fantasy.
Yeah. So what you do is
high low tech, like high fantasy, low tech.
You are going to different biomes and different worlds based off these cards that you find. And so right now Scruffy is in a swamp area. It's because he chose.
Is it a poison swamp?
I think there's some of it. There's some of the water, yeah, that's poisonous. I know that in one of the worlds I was in, I was getting diseased because I was in the water, or whatever else. And so that occurs. But yes, there are poisonous areas of the map. But you find these cards and you play them, and they will send you to different biomes. And then some, like they have two individual cards that you play. One is the biome itself, and then one is like I believe like the enemies that you'll encounter,
like a modifier,
kind of, yeah. And I think that there are also more cards that you can add to it. Again, the game only launched on the 20th, so we've only had 2 days of playtime with it.
So that's kind of your way of creating your seed, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Okay.
What they also do really, really well is that you can have, so there's no PvP in this. It's all single player or all co-op. It's up to 6 players, and your So I jumped into Scruffy's world, and when I jumped into Scruffy's world, I did not have to do anything once Scruffy logged out, and we didn't have to have a server. Like, that was the world that we were playing on. So, and we both tested it. Like, he logged out, and then I logged out, and then I logged in because it wasn't my original world. I logged in, and I am still in that world. So, like, it is persistent through, I guess, wherever you're at. And I can go invite, and he can invite me to his party, and he's setting up this cairn, and that's kind of like your pillar of your base of where you're going to start. And I had access to his car, and he could give me access to it. And then from there, that was it. Like, I would play and progress the world or progress what's going on. He would then log in and also continue to progress where he's at. I could be in a completely separate world in a separate realm because of a card that I used, and I'm doing all those kind of things, but we're still connected. I could still come back to here where he is. So they handle that very well.
So you find a card setup that you want to set up a home base onto, you can do that, and then you can world bounce to gather stuff and then return to that home base world.
Correct. Because there are like different, I will say this is a bad thing about the game. It is fucking a lot of shit, dude. Like, you have like prey bones, predator 1 bones, prey hide, predator 1 hide, predator 2 hide, predator 3 hide. Like, you have like all of these different fucking it's a lot of shit.
Sound like placeholder names.
Yeah, I don't know. It is a lot. Like, when you look at like how much stuff you're using to craft stuff and do things with, like, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have a story. Sorry, go ahead.
Nah, that level of like that breadth of stuff is the whole reason that this kind of genre like does not appeal to me, or at least intimidates me, like survival as a whole. And this seems like it's to the penultimate extreme of that.
I mean, it is a lot of shit. Like, there's
especially
lot of
with
stuff
the seed building and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of craziness that you are having to gather for different kind of materials. I will say that I've not felt like I've been like barrier locked or like glass ceilinged, because I don't necessarily have all of the materials that I need yet. Again, we're still in the very early stages of it, but I mean, you can get firearms, you can move all the way through and getting into like more magical magic stuff. They do have abilities and things like that you can attach to different types of gear. You see the umbrella, so like what that's used for is, like, if you're up high somewhere, you jump off, you have your umbrella out, and you can just glide down like Mary fucking Poppins to the bottom. It does require stamina to do so, but I love the creatures, I love the world, I like the environment that you're in. There are a lot of quality of life things that are kind of a pain in the ass, where like you can't loot like you can't craft through your chests, so you have to go to the chest, get the items out, go back to the bench, craft, and then go back and put the items back in. Like, that's annoying. Those things I think will get fixed. But from a survival style game, like, if you like survival games, it's $30. It's not it's not super expensive.
$30 is a decent price. I'm still not the biggest fan of early access, but
yeah,
this is indie as well, right?
Yes. So let me see who was the developer for Nightingale. I believe it was indie.
Okay, because I can understand early access with indie developers a little bit, just because they are needing funding to continue to produce said games. So paid alpha testing, paid beta testing, that kind of thing is where it kind of falls into.
So Inflexion, this is their first game, and they are self-publishing, by the way.
Okay, then I'll be a little bit less harsh on that aspect of things.
I wonder how many people are at Inflexion. Let's see. They are based out of Alberta, Canada.
That's pretty cool. Brothers to the North.
It looks like it's a pretty small team. I mean, looks like they don't have, but actually I can go to their LinkedIn and tell you exactly how many employees they have. They have got a total of well, I mean, it's not tiny. It's 50 200 employees. So I don't, that LinkedIn doesn't give me an exact range.
Yeah,
Just
but
tells
you
me
don't
50
know
to 200.
who's developing game, who's like accounting, that kind of stuff. So
Right.
you don't know how many people are actually working on the game. Regardless, I will redact my statements on early access because indie devs do it leads to a different avenue of development that a lot of games would never even get the chance to be made without early access. It's the one avenue that I think is okay for early access. So,
Like I
how far along is it before you think it's like 1.0 ready? Like how
oh
early
it,
access are we? Like how early?
yeah,
Because I'm
I
seeing
would.
a lot of people in chat saying that this ain't it.
I don't know, man.
This is
I so like
rough.
they're okay. So the one person, one of the people that is saying this is Enigma, who is not on the show. I was hoping he was going to be on the show because I wanted to go toe to toe with them on this one, specifically. I think that again, when I look at like Power World, when I look at Icarus, when I look at games like Valheim and stuff like that, like those games were rough. Like when they launched,
Mm-hmm.
they were like Valheim was probably the closest to being like an actual like really good like it wasn't
Yeah,
bad,
Valheim was
right?
pretty polished at
Right. It
early
wasn't. It
access.
wasn't. It wasn't terrible. This is not a Valheim. This is not like it. The functionalities of the thing work. Like you're not gonna. I'm not gonna. I have not had a situation where like I tried to open something or craft something. It didn't work. It didn't craft. It didn't do it. Like again, the game functions. The game works. The game does what it's supposed to do and does it fine.
Okay.
How far would I say that it is? To get out of early access, I think you're probably still like easy a year, maybe a year and a half out, depending on what they want to do. I think quality of life stuff is needs to be number one. Content wise, from what I'm seeing, there's a fair bit amount of content between it. They have discussed about wanting to do some type of like PvP system where you can go into someone else's world.
Invasions, yes.
But I don't know necessarily what how that will pan out. I think the big thing there is just kind of like, okay, cool. What am I continuing to push for, right? Like what am I
Right.
why? What am I doing? You've got
And
games.
another question is what we're seeing in chat is what is going to differentiate this? What's going to pull somebody from a different survival game like Sons of the Forest, like Pow World, like this breadth of gaming that is in this genre to this title? Like where's the unique aspect, you think?
Again, I think like the I think they're relying very heavily on the world that you're in, right? Like the steampunkiness of it, the card system. Again, because what you see here, right? It's just like, okay, cool, tent, brick home, bed, axe, hoe, shovel, sickle. It's all the same shit. Like it's literally just, you take one survival, it does it here, vice versa, right?
Right.
So to me, it's kind of like that Fey magic, exploration of the card system. Like, how many worlds can I really go to? I will say, like, you get in and you are kind of taken a back because, like, one of the very first things I saw was this like tree monster that shat sticks. I was in a desert. There was no way for me to get sticks except for, and it was again an innovative way to say, hey, here's how you can get sticks. You follow this tree monster around and go, please, so can I have some more? And it just shits out sticks for you.
Like literally dumps them.
Literally shits out sticks. Like it literally stops, grumbles, squats, sticks fall out, and you keep on moving.
That'll do it.
So yeah, those types of things are cool, right? It's the interesting factor of like, what am I going to see next? Where am I going to go? That I think will continue to drive the game forward.
Okay.
Again, I want to make sure I keep this like it's $30, right? We're not talking about a $60 game. We're not talking about a $70 game, $80 game.
Yeah, but
like,
even in the $30 landscape, there's a lot of games that compete at a $30 level with this.
True,
So,
but a lot of the survival games, like if you take like again something like Icarus, something like Daisy, something like I mean 7 Days to Die is not one because 7 Days to Die has been out for a long time and cheap. but you know, they like those games, survival games can be expensive. Like they can be, you know, 40, $50. Um, and I think for $30, I like it. Again, I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying it.
That's all that matters, man.
You know, so I would say if it intrigues you, go grab it. It functions better than Power World, and I liked Power World, but it functions better than Power World. Like, so, you know, take it or leave it, wherever you want, with
Okay.
that kind of situation. So, so yeah,
Nightingale.
so Nightingale, $30 on Steam and Epic, if you want to go pick it up there.
Cool.
All right, let's move on to the last game that I played, which is actually a game that I have played multiple times before, talked about
More
it a little
top-down.
bit, and yes, more top down. So it is not a shocker to anybody that I am a lover of action RPGs. It is not a
Yeah.
shocker to anybody that I really love Diablo 4, but unfortunately Diablo 4 has just not been hitting the way that it should.
Diablo 4 doesn't want to be loved.
It's I don't know what's going on. It's just asking to be abused, unfortunately, and yeah. So Last Epoch has decided to come out. This is a game that has been in development for fucking ever. I think I bought this game in like 2018, maybe.
I was thinking 18, yeah.
Like
I think that was the first time I remember hearing about it.
it has been around a minute and it has changed a lot. Like I have played this game several times. I have seen the development cycle several times. And the reason that we're bringing it up now is because it has officially gone to 1.0.
So they know what they're doing with the game finally.
They know what they're doing with the game. They have released it. They cannot go back. It is now officially out. So this game, this one I think is actually $40. I do believe, let me again double check my thing here. Last Epoch. I'm pretty sure that this game is $40. Last Epoch. Nope, that's not what I want. Where's the Steam? There it is, Steam. It is
$34.99.
$34.99. So $34.99 for the base version, $50 for the deluxe edition, $65 for the ultimate edition. The differences there are basically cosmetics. You'll get some of the in-game currency for the microtransactions that are in there. And yeah, all microtransactions, all anything that you buy is all cosmetic. It goes very much a la the Path of Exile route, where it's like you're buying portals, you're buying skins. You're not buying like bag space or anything like that. It's just, or stash space. It's solely just skins
Okay.
for and pets.
I can respect that.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say, right? Like if you have D4 and you have Path of Exile, this is like I wouldn't say smack dab in the middle, but it's definitely like 65%, and it leans more to the Path of Exile side. It's not nearly as complicated as Path of Exile, but it gives you a lot of customization. There are 5 total classes, 15 total subclasses, and then the thing that makes it very Path of Exile-y is the augmentation system that they have, where you can augment your spells to do more things. Where you can have it where like, oh, I'm gonna have a zombie horde, but then whenever my skeletons blow up, they're going to summon more zombies, but then also release like pools of acid that then those catch fire because like this. So it's a lot of like cool like theory crafting building that you can do.
So what you're saying is Enigma will like it because there's a necromancer build.
There is a necromancer build in here, and from what I've heard, the necromancer is very good.
Is it true necromancer?
From everybody that I've talked to, yes, it's still not D2. Like everybody wants D2 fucking necromancer. You're not gonna get D2. I was
actually gonna comment that this looks very D2. Like out of all the comparisons that you can make with a top-down isometric, this rings more D2 to me than it does the like 4 Path of Exile or anything like that. It's got that slow pacing to it. It seems a lot more deliberate with your actions, which I know a lot of people liked with D2. So
yeah, it is. So it starts off slow. You get a lot faster. You're not gonna have, at least for the most part, like just this massive on screen, like what Path of Exile does, where there's just fucking a billion enemies and you're just blowing everything up right away. Like it does do, it is a little bit more slower in that D2 element. I mean, again, I think this goes to say, if anybody that does these action, these developers are from D2, like they came from Diablo 2 days. And again,
Okay.
you can see it, you know, in the art direction, all that kind of stuff. So, um, it but here's the thing. Here's what sets this game apart from like the bajillion other action RPGs that we have. Um, their crafting system and their leveling system of their items is extremely unique. And what you are able to do is you're able to take an item that you like, right? And then you're able to go and say, hey, I want to add this prefix and this suffix, and I can jam them together, and I'm going to be able to get this like kind of weapon that I have handcrafted to do what I want. And then I can level up certain things. Like I can say, hey, I want my attunement, which is for my druid, to be like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, all the way up to I believe tier 8 or 9. But every time that you do that, you have a chance that the item is going to shatter. And if the item shatters, well, now you're not necessarily fucked, but you are kind of fucked. Like it's like, okay, well, now it can only go to up to tier, like I think whatever, at least the last time I did it, up to the maximum amount that you upgraded. So if it shatters at tier 6, then that's it. It can only go to tier 6 and it cannot go any higher than that. But also
There's
like
another top-down isometric that had a grind similar to that, I thought, but I'm drawing a blank on the name. Do you think that is you? So you like that system? You're
I think it's
praising
yeah.
that
Yeah,
system.
I think it's cool because in Diablo, all you're doing is just hunting stats and you're hunting you know, like these things that are attached to said gear. Whereas in
Hmm.
this, like you're like, cool, like I really love this staff. I love what it does. Like I like the role that's on it. And some of the abilities. Now I just need to I want to add other things to it. And so you can kind of
At a
really
chance of
customize.
ruining it forever.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But then you also have these you have other gems that you are able to socket into it. Which I will say this is another game that I think has somewhat of a downfall like Nightingale of a lot of shit because there's a lot of loot in this game, but there are these crafting fragments that you can get that will also protect it. So you can be like, "Hey, I'm going to add this fragment and it's going to give me a 75% chance of success with, you know, a very low chance of breaking, right? Or shattering. You can
Right.
also have a shatter protection to where it says like, hey, like this is completely protected from shattering, but if I use this, then I'm only guaranteed to go up by a very small amount versus a larger amount. So you're kind of gambling a little bit with what you want to do. Again, it gives you more
I can see the
customability.
fun in that, but
Like
it also seems like it's artificially elongating the weapon like acquisition process in a different way. At least it's more interactive than the standard loot grind with these kinds of games. I can at least give it that.
yeah, the one thing that I need to look at, and I'm going to be playing more of this, is the shatter. I believe you can come back from the shatter system, or like once it's shattered, it's not completely gone. Um, what I will say that they do again a very good job of it is just like the amount of loot and gear that you are getting is just you're just constantly they're just vomiting this shit on top of you. Which if you're an action RPG fan, a lot of people like they want to be continuously just like have a loot pinata. Where you know I get to like, okay, cool, like I got this weapon and like, yeah, this one's shattered. Oh fuck, but now I got this one I can try out and I can, you know, work my way, you know, through it. If you're a min maxer, I think the game is good for you, but I also see where like the shatter system can be kind of annoying because if you're trying to max out, like and you shatter something and you can't come back from it, like now I've wasted all this time.
Yeah.
Like what do I do?
I
Um,
I can I can see the value in it because putting it into perspective of a game that I am familiar with, like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, that kind of stuff, the weapon break in those games is 100% permanent and inevitable, but it does kind of give you a reason to experiment with different weapons, different builds, and stuff like that. I don't know if that's as much the case since I'm assuming this is you said it was class based and subclass based. So each one of those I'm assuming can only use certain types of weapons.
yeah, so you have gear that are night only that are locked out to this, but it's not um like anything. Let's just say anything that drops could be used by any other class unless it specifies specifically that it's night. Like it doesn't say like you like a druid can't use daggers. Like that's not a
Gotcha.
thing.
Do those different weapons modify playstyle like pretty drastically, or are they just more or less an auto attack like skin?
No, I mean there are a lot of ability things that they are giving you. Like you'll get a lot of stuff that's like, hey, chance to 60% chance to stun, 50% chance to cast to ignite, or to cast lightning burst or whatever else on an enemy. So I mean, I think it
I get what you're saying with
yeah
it. Okay.
it changes your play style, but it's not like
And the value in
groundbreaking.
the yeah, and the value in the upgrading I can see actually being pretty beneficial. If you're partial to something, you can elongate its usefulness instead of it just having to be dumped at some point until you hit max level. So
Right.
I can see the value in
Because
that.
I could tell you one of the most annoying things is like in D4 where I've gone in and I've gone and been like, cool, I'm gonna upgrade my gear to tier 4 or 5, whatever, and then I do all that and I go through a dungeon run and then I immediately find a piece of gear that's just better. And I'm
Yep.
like, okay,
Yep.
cool. I've wasted all this money, all this resources, all this shit on nothing. So this kind of says like, cool, like you have like if you really love your item, like upgrade it, keep upgrading it, right? Because you won't get to like your tier 8s and tier 9s, like that is in-game stuff that you're kind of going toward. And so it's not like a situation where you'll just be like, oh fuck, I just spent a bunch of resources to upgrade this and now it's pointless because I'd rather just upgrade the next thing. Like you can upgrade the current one that you've got if you really like it past that, the one that you just found. It really makes it so you have choice, which is good. So
Yeah.
again, I think the game is it's a fun game. Here's what I'll tell you. It's getting a lot of hate because of the servers, and it's
Yeah,
rightfully
I'm seeing mixed reviews right
Yep.
now on Steam for it.
rightfully so, because the game for the longest time has been multiplayer in only one facet, and that was chat. You could chat with other people about the experience that you're going through and loot, and you could link like, oh great, guess what I found, but it was a solely single player solo experience. That was it. Then maybe like a year ago ish, 6 to 8 months ago, something like that, they decided they added multiplayer. They were working on multiplayer for a long time. They added multiplayer.
Cool.
It was bad. It did not, it was just not, it did
Is it
not
still
function
bad?
well. I don't know if it's the multiplayer that is bad or the just sheer I mean, I guess you have to say multiplayer because it's the online functionality.
Yeah.
The servers are shit. If you play offline, perfectly fine. If you play online, the servers are shit. Like you will see
It
where
does have an offline mode though.
yep, full offline mode. You can play completely offline.
You don't have to be connected to an internet connection or anything.
Nope. Nope. You can
That's
just
that
play.
I respect that.
Yep.
Okay.
So there's no internet connection required. In fact, what I will give Last Epoch and the developers 11th Hour props for is that the servers went to shit immediately. Which I think they underestimated how much people were going to want to play a new action RPG, especially something that looks a lot like Path of Exile. And Diablo 4 is in such a bad spot. So they completely underestimated server load. They had this weird fucking thing where you had to go into the properties of the game and change this kind of stuff to be able to have an offline mode. Within a matter of like 2 hours, I think, it may have been even shorter. They had it where the game launched and automatically allowed you to choose, do you want to go in offline mode or do you want to go in online mode? Right out of the gate. So kudos to them for being like, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna at least let our people play the game. So
Right.
they went
Especially
in
if they
and
have an
fixed it.
offline mode, flex that.
Yeah, like so. And it still does that, and they said that they're going to keep that in there. They're not going to just take it away whenever the online comes, gets more stable. But it has ladders, it has solo like hardcore mode, it has a solo self find. It's got all the things that Diablo 4 is still lacking in it, but the servers
It looks good.
are rough. Yeah, I mean it's pretty. It's not the most beautiful action RPG game I've ever played.
I don't think any of these games look particularly good myself, but like from like the comparisons, I think it looks pretty decent.
I mean, I think that, you look at something like Lost Ark, you look at something like, I do think that Diablo 4 has some really beautiful moments to it. But Lost Ark for me takes the cake. Like that is a beautiful fucking game through and through. This
And
reminds
it's
me
fun.
very it. Oh, you're saying this? Yes, Stevens is saying yes, and it's fun. I thought you were about to say Lost Ark. I was like, it's fun to a point until you get to the end game, then it's fucking it's rough.
Yeah.
But the
Lost
server,
Ark was also the game I was thinking of with the forever loot grind.
yeah. This the servers are like, I will go and load and click something to load into it, and I'll sit there. I can still run around, I can still get loot, I can still, fight or whatever else, but then out of a blue it'll just be like, okay, now we're gonna load you into the next map. And if you click back, like if you click back on the mouse, like back toward whatever else, it happened to click like back toward where you just came from, well, now you're gonna warp backwards, and now you got a 3-minute wait to come back into it. Like it's tough. Me and Scruffy could not play together. We had some issues being able to play online together, and we just could not connect. So they need to fix that ASAP.
They do.
For sure. So yeah. Anyway, last
does it have sound? Can you
yes,
hear
it has
the
sound.
game?
Yeah, music's really good. Sound effects are really good.
That's
Abilities
good.
are really fun. So yeah, I said I was gonna wait until it came out to actually play the game. It's now out. I will play it. And we'll go
Yeah.
from there. So
Hell yeah.
So that is
Last Epoch, $35.
That is Last Epoch, $35, and that is all of the games that we've been playing. Like Bill said, he hasn't been playing Monster Hunter World, but we've talked quite a bit of Monster Hunter World. Is there anything you want to talk about with Monster Hunter World?
I tried to ruin the game for me by picking one of the most finicky weapons of the game to start with. It's not the most complex, but the hammer.
The hammer, yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I tried to ruin the game for myself by picking a frustrating weapon that puts me in the teeth of the monsters constantly with abysmal range. Whenever it worked, it felt real good. I think most of the fights that I tried the hammer had like 2 or 3 like good hit moments where I was like, yeah, that's what I want, and just could not consistently replicate that. So gave up on that. To save myself a little bit of sanity, I'll probably go back to it once I'm more familiar with the game. I'm a bow user now, and I am having a very good time with the bow. So
nice. Oh yeah. Now I'm a hunting horn main. I don't know. I've tried a lot of other stuff, and hunting horn always just gets me. I don't know what it is. Something about blowing into a big horn just makes me feel good. Yeah.
I am playing in co-op as well. So
nice.
Having somebody, my buddy Jake is playing on Gunland, so having a tank is also useful.
Nice. It's a fun game, man. There's so much good content there, and it's now, especially with Monster Hunter. What the fuck is the new one called? Where's Enigma when you need him? Enigma, I know you're in chat. What is that new one called?
Wilds,
Monster Hunter Wilds. It is got a huge resurgence of popularity back. So it's a good time to play it, and you can get it for fairly cheap, I think, right now. It's pretty inexpensive. It does suck though that it's not crossplay. Like, I don't know why they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Like, why? That's so dumb to me. For sure. And that is also another game too that I think, I don't want to say it suffers from overcomplication. I just think that it suffers from Eastern multiplayer development of like how they're like, oh, you can go into the lobby and then you got to go from the lobby to here, and then you can also like, that's annoying.
World has a lot of weird roadblocks where you have to go and explore, find the monster, and then you can multiplayer instead of just being able to do everything seamlessly.
Yeah.
It's not as weird as From Software's online type shit. So
no. All right. Well, talk about Front Software. Kind of teeing me up pretty easily for our news section. Let's get into the news.
What's this one?
All right.
Good lord.
Some like butt rock news.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
All right, so let's talk about what we've got here, which we knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. And
I love From Software, man. They let it cook. They post a teaser image, they let it cook, let the community do its thing for months, and then just random out of the blue. Yeah, here's a trailer. Have a breadcrumb, you peasants.
They also dropped a date, right? Like, we got a date for it.
June 11th or
June. Is it June 11th?
It's June something.
June 13th.
I will look it up. But Shadow of the Erdtree, we finally have a gameplay trailer, a little bit of story being added to to everything. We're learning what we're getting into, and I'm very excited about it. Very excited about it. And the community's through the moon. June 20th, we were both wrong.
June 20th. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm getting flamed. Good thing Enigma's not here because I'm getting flamed on my choice of the news intro songs. Well, this is what happens
That's
whenever
okay.
you're not here.
Next week he can choose the transition
Yeah, sure.
songs.
There you go.
We can just rotate it.
Okay. So here's the thing. I mean, obviously, I know you're excited because you're a From Software fan, right? And I think
Yes, they're the one company in the world that still has a
soul.
reputation. Yeah.
Does this, from what you saw, are you excited? Do you think that it hit all the things that it needed to hit? Like,
very excited. How in depth do we want to go with this?
Go.
Because
We got time.
I could gush all day. So
Yeah, we got time.
From what we saw in the trailer, first and foremost, I kind of want to get this out of the way. Everything we're going to be talking about is going to be with the caveat that this is a $40 DLC.
Okay.
So
kind of
I don't know how you feel about that personally. And considering that the base game itself was a $60 game, it had not gone to the $70 threshold. This is effectively 2/3 the price of base game. So
how big is it? Do we? I mean,
that is going to be the biggest question because at a $40 price tag, I think a lot of people are expecting massive amounts of content. And from what From Software has delivered us in the past, we should be okay. Their DLCs tend to be the best content for their respective games in like every single instance from Dark Souls 1 all the way up to Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne and all of them. The DLCs have always been like the absolute pinnacle of what those games are wanting to set out. I don't think this is going to be any different. I think the speculation with this goes kind of similar to the speculation Elden Ring had when it first came out, where the open world aspect is the concern factor. And I think there's a little bit more of a concern factor going into the DLC just because of how much recycling they did do in base game. I think people are concerned that the DLC is going to be full of a lot more recycled type stuff.
Mhm.
So
we'll
see.
And this is a whole other area, right? Like it's not a we're not
so I don't know. It kind of so it looks like where we're taking place, it's called the Land of Shadows. So it is a different area from the Lands Between, but it almost appears to be a kind of a mirror dimension to the Lands Between. So I think a lot of the landscapes, they have the potential of being older landscapes that are kind of being reshifted, but it could be an entirely new area altogether. We don't have that kind of detail level yet. There's definitely areas that are similar to the Lands Between, big open fields. We got the underground segments that we've seen in the trailer. They did confirm in interview that it's going to basically have the same makeup of what base Elden Ring had, where it's going to have its open world area. It's going to have its little sub dungeons like your mines, your catacombs, like those kinds of things. Each one capped off with a boss style weapon or enemy. And then it's going to have its legacy dungeons. They did say plural on the legacy dungeons. So we're at least going to get two like of the big time dungeons. So that's exciting to think about.
One of the things now is on topic of this, but it's off topic of necessarily the Shadow of the Erdtree. But if I was if I was someone that want like an artist, developer, whatever you want to call them, right? That like I want to develop kick-ass characters. I feel like From Software literally just goes to their dev teams and their art team and go, I don't, bro, fucking here's some acid, drop it, and fucking just start doing what you want to do. And because like,
what character are you talking about that that brings that mindset?
I mean, I'm looking at any of them, man. Like, there's literally like that fucking thing was like a lame horse with a dude that had looked like he was like a half skeleton, half like zombie thing throwing a fucking like cocoon boomerang. Like, what the fuck? Like, it just, I mean, they
yeah.
But also too, it's not like they don't. What I appreciate about what they did and they do these with all of their games, but so much with Elden Ring was like the character design, the movement, everything about it just felt so well polished.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's very impressive. Sorry, that was just a little tangent that I wanted to go on, but
No, you're good. You're good. Um, so we're taking place in the Land of Shadow. Whole new plot point. In the interview, Miyazaki said that there's at least going to be, I think the number was 8 new weapon types. So that is like new from what I picture that as. That is whole new like weapon categories, like 8 new weapon categories for us to play around with. That's not including spells, that's not including new armors, that's not including new weapon arts themselves, because the Ashes of War are interchangeable in this game. um there's a lot of room for that to expand and grow past just 8 new weapon types. We do get a few glimpses of those weapon types in this trailer. Um, One of which that I'm most excited about is, it looks like, I don't know if they're katanas or scimitars, but they're being held in like a backhand style position
mhm.
instead of like being held forward. It's more of a an assassiny style approach, and they do seem to have like that speed element to them, where each thrust is like a little dash forward, and then it has like the like in behind maneuver built into the kit. Um, so if that's one aspect of a new weapon type, I'm excited to see what the other ones have in
it
store.
it looked like somebody had blades on their fucking feet. Like we were getting like a
Yeah, yeah, like a
what
Tekken or a Street Fighter style
what
moveset, and
yeah, it was what's the character from League? I'm blanking. Camilla, like that Camilla like esque where she's got blades on her feet, kind of thing. It looked dope.
yeah,
Has that ever been done before in like
yeah.
their
Dark
from
Souls
game?
2. Dark Souls 2 had a weapon called the Bone Fist that basically gave you a Street Fighter moveset complete with like a Hadouken and everything like that. So
It's cool.
this weapon that you're seeing, I know exactly the one you're talking about. It's about to pop up right now. Um, it's a martial style weapon. I don't know if it's actually going to be boots, because the one in Dark Souls 2 is a fist weapon that allowed you to do like drop kicks and maneuvers like that. This, the glow is specifically on the feet, so I don't know if it's going to be boots that actually have like a weapon stat to them.
Yeah.
That would be insane. That'd be something that they've never really shown off before.
And do we know
So,
who the big bad of this is? Like it was Milena, right? In the no, what was her name?
uh,
Not Milena. What was
uh
it?
So the big bad of this, from what we at least we see in the trailer, is a new character called Mesmer. Um,
Is that the one we just
America
saw?
was, yeah, that's the dude in the red with the snake wrapped around him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, that could be a red herring. There could be a bigger bad in behind the scenes. This DLC is heavily based around the character Mikola from base game. So this is kind of like he abandoned his body to come to this realm specifically. So he is going to be a central player in this DLC, whether he's going to be on our side or if he's going to be the true final boss pulling the strings, or if he's going to be like the super boss of the DLC, like off to a side, kind of like Melania was. Um, a lot of speculation, going into what all we could be getting, but that's what they do, man. They release a trailer, they let the community speculate, and then we usually get about 30 to 35% of it correct. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited that we got something as soon as we did, oddly enough, just because I expected this to take a very long time. And while we did have to wait months for it, it was less time than what I was expecting. And especially with it being a June release, I wasn't expecting a release date this soon. But
Really? A lot of people were
I'm
expecting the shadow drop in fucking February. So
yeah, I understand that, but the whole From Software mindset, I want them to have the time that they need for it. And I know that with a game the scale of Elden Ring, that they needed to have a DLC similar to a Blood and Wine. This has to be that level of content. And I, from what we're seeing, there's a lot of evidence to point towards that direction. They've shown a lot of really interesting things. A lot of stuff that came out of the interview with Miyazaki as well is kind of interesting, in the way that they're going to be doing the leveling and scaling with this DLC. It's something that I've never seen an RPG DLC do before, and I think it might solve one of like their biggest problems DLC wise. Um, you know how in RPG DLCs, especially with one similar to this, how your build's kind of finished by the end of the game, and you could potentially be extremely over leveled by the time you go into the DLC and then kind of walk through everything.
Right.
This DLC, from what he was saying, is going to kind of level out the playing field with builds, and they're adding a new damage modifying stat to the game, so that you're going to have to, within this DLC only, go through and build up this new like damage modifier. They said it was similar to how Sekiro does its damage, where like you beat a boss, you gain a remembrance, and then by using that remembrance, it increases your attack power.
Hmm.
It's going to be similar to that. So everybody, no matter build, is probably going to have at least a fairly similar experience without it making your build either overpowered or obsolete.
Interesting. And you are playing. So you're not starting a fresh new character, right? Like this is just a
No.
continuation of the current
This
character
is-
that you have.
Yep, this is a continuation. From what I understand, this is going to be full end game. So they expect you to finish the entire base game before you go into this DLC. I don't know if it'll even let you. I would assume it wouldn't, considering the whole premise of this is what happens after the Erdtree is burnt down. So
Right. Yeah, it'd be kind of weird to go post burnt into pre burnt.
yeah,
With time
yeah.
traveling and stuff. But cool. I mean, look, like, do you think that this is going to bring From Software another game of the year? Like,
I am firmly of the mindset that DLC should not be considered game of the year.
hey,
That
same,
is my
same, buddy.
that is my take. If they ever added a DLC of the year category, I think that most From Software DLCs are worthy of that title, and I don't think Elden Ring's DLC is going to be anything different. Um, Especially considering $40 is a big ask. It's not something that they have asked before. All their prior DLCs have been $20 DLCs. But I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments later or whatnot, but I swear I remember Miyazaki saying that they originally planned for 2 DLCs for Elden Ring, but they have consolidated it into a single DLC experience, which could, in theory, explain the $40 price tag, because you would have been paying $40 for 2 DLCs anyway.
Well, I mean, you can also technically say that this is not 40; it's kind of 30. I mean, if you want it, depends on how you want to twist it, right? Because you could say like, hey, the game released at 60. Almost all games are releasing at 70. So if you take that $10 consideration into it, then you're technically at 30. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a bit of a
look,
reach,
man,
but
look, you know,
I can respect the hustle on it.
you know, I'm just saying. But you know, anyway, I mean, look, if it's worth it, I think, and I don't think that From Software, like especially with IPs like this, they're not going to kind of fuck around and find out, right? Like they want to make sure
they're not
like,
gonna ruin their deals, their IP or anything like that with an outlandish price tag.
Right.
I think if they feel like $40 is the price for it, then they are going to deliver $40 worth of content.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that.
No, I believe it as well. So on the heels of this, more From Software news is From Software actually got the trademark of Elden Ring from Bandai Namco. So
Yeah, I saw that.
I was wondering if you had seen it
I
before.
saw that, and it's interesting. I don't know specifically what that entails trademark wise. I'm not
Yeah.
a I
So
have no information on trademark law or anything like that. I
yep.
still see Bandai Namco's name plastered all
Yeah.
over it.
So
How does that kind of work?
100%. So let me explain. So the way that this is you have trademark and then you have copyright, right? So Bandai Namco owns the copyright and the rights to the Elden Ring video game. So
Okay.
From Software can't go and make another necessary Elden Ring video game without at least a bare minimum giving Bandai Namco first rights to refusal, right? So they have to be the one to say, no,
Okay.
we don't want to make a video game. Bandai Namco, you'd have to be a fucking moron. But like maybe From Software's like, we're gonna take Elden Ring and be a fighting game, or whatever else. I don't know. But anyway, so
it's like Bloodborne with Sony, where
yeah, so they get first rights.
From Software can't make Bloodborne without Sony being on board.
First right. So, but they do not have to go to Bandai Namco if they want to do other things. So, books, movies, TV shows, any type of like comic, lore, whatever else. If they want to go to George R.R. Martin and do more Elden Ring content, that is outside of the video game sphere, then they don't have to answer to anybody. So they own the rights to the world, which is important. I mean, that's important for I think a developer to be able to say, hey, because you know what, like, and I think it's smart from Software, because what this allows, like, they don't know what's going to happen to Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco could fucking go belly up, right? And if Bandai Namco goes belly up, and they
your IP dies,
right? Your IP's gone, so they own the rights to their intellectual property, which is a huge thing. The other cool thing about this is what I think it's also alluding to, because this has been rumored, and I know that From Software has teased about this. George R.R. Martin loves doing shows. Is that they want to do? I think that there is a either series, whether it's HBO or a film. I lean more towards series than I do film, but an adaptation of Elden Ring where it will be a show.
I could see an anime adaptation of it, honestly.
And I think that would be good, because for someone like me, like, it's no shocker, I'm not a huge like story person. I don't know shit about the Elden Ring lore that's behind it. But I would love to have it in a movie or a TV show where it's kind of explained, to me. I think that'd be
That's
really
fair.
dope. So, and with that, you actually brought up Bloodborne, and I think it was Miyazaki that said, "Look, like we hear you. We know that everybody wants Bloodborne, right? Like we love Bloodborne just as much as you guys do, but it's not our decision to make the game.
It's
Like
Sony, because
it's
Sony
Sony.
full owns that IP.
Yes. So it's just like Sony has to be the one that says it. So we get it, but like because one of the things that this opened up the door for was like, oh, okay, so we're gonna get this, but where the fuck is Bloodborne? Like every single time that From Software does anything, it's always, well, where's Bloodborne?
Yeah.
So,
Bloodborne's that golden goose that we're just waiting for either the remaster or the PC port or both to come out.
Yep. So Sony will do it eventually. I don't know when.
I still think they're waiting for the PS5 Pro.
Yeah, possibly. So with talking about movies and with talking about adaptations and all that kind of stuff, this is a perfect segue into the next thing that dropped, which is the Borderlands movie trailer. So I don't know if you guys remember, we talked about the Borderlands movie a long time ago. When it first got announced. Have you watched this trailer yet?
Yeah. I actually watched it for a second time with Britt about an hour or so before the podcast.
What are your thoughts on it?
So I have some mixed thoughts. For one, I think the world that they built up is amazing. I like that we saw some of the Hyperion satellite stuff. I like that we get a decent look at what Pandora is going to look like. I think the overall world aesthetic is very spot on. I like a lot of the vehicles. It's lending a lot to that Mad Max original inspiration,
Yeah.
but taking it in a more cartoony way. And it's doing it better than I expected it to with a live action adaptation. I didn't think it would translate as well aesthetically as it does into this. So I will give it big props for that. I think the world that they built looks really good. I'm excited to see more areas of it. Um, so
But
that's a big plus.
are you excited to see this crew go through those areas? Because
What
or
do you
this
what do you mean
cast,
this crew?
this
Okay, I was
this
about to, are you
cast,
talking about the characters or
the
are you talking about the
cast,
cast?
the
Okay.
cast.
The cast I'm a little bit more mixed on. And for a few different reasons. For one, I don't like most Kevin Hart stuff. I don't think he's that good of a actor or a comedian. He's got a few roles that I do enjoy. His role in Jumanji I thought was pretty good. But not the biggest Kevin Hart fan, especially for Roland specifically. We'll see how it plays out. I'm willing to give it a chance there. Um, Lilith and Tanis, I'm a little bit thrown through a loop. For one, I like both of the actresses. I think they're both phenomenal actresses, and I think they'll do the characters well in that aspect. In another aspect, I'm a little bit weirded out on the like accuracy to the source material, considering Tanis and Lilith both in the games are in their 20s, and these actresses are in their 50s and 60s respectively.
Yeah, I cannot get behind.
And they didn't de-age them, which if that's the route they want to go with it, I'm fine with it. It's just it seems like an odd choice considering I think there's plenty of actresses that could have filled these roles and been a little bit more accurate to the sourse material.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if they were just wanting to go for like star power.
Kate Blanchett as fucking yeah, as Lilith just makes no goddamn sense to me. I fucking hate it.
I think she'll do well with it.
I mean, yeah, she's a good actress, but I just don't.
She plays the sassy badass well whenever she's given the chance.
Fit like it. I don't know.
Put a little bit more comedy on Hella, and I think it'd be fine.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't think that she fits that character respectively because of. And I'm sorry, like I know this may. I don't know. It is an age thing. Like it's just like it's because also too they didn't like outside of Tanis, they didn't age in the other characters. You know what I mean? Like the other characters are the age roughly. I mean, Kevin Hart's
Tiny Tina looks great. Right. I actually like the actress for her. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull as good of a performance as Ashley Birch does with the voice acting, but I think she looks the part at least. Same thing with Krieg. Krieg looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, dude,
he's probably the best looking
bro.
character of the entire showcase.
Yeah.
Moxie, for the split second that you actually see her, actually looks pretty decent too.
Wait, where is she at? When did I miss?
It's literally like 2 frames of Moxie, so you gotta be looking. There's Marcus there for a frame or two. A lot of the other characters look solid. It's just those 2 in particular that I'm a little bit thrown a loop for on their casting.
Yeah.
She's going to be showing up here in a second.
I'm gonna say I'm waiting to see where she's going to be at because I did not see her, or remember seeing her. But
yeah, like I said, it's very it's weird.
Yeah.
Writing wise, I think it's a bit too tame for the Borderlands universe. But that being said, maybe I'm just too acclimated to Borderlands 2. And how like in your face a lot of the humor is with that. This definitely gives off more of a Borderlands 1 comedy aesthetic where it's a lot more dry. It's a lot more like ironically funny.
Do you think that we're gonna get? Oh, there's Moxie. Yeah, no, she does look like Moxie. It's good. Do you think that we're gonna get like all the powers and all that kind of stuff that we're associated? Like we
That's
know?
Another thing. We didn't see a single siren power from Lilith. No. Like throughout this entire trailer. I don't know if they're holding off on that. She seems to be the central character force with this, so I don't know if they're doing like a different universe style thing with Siren. Does she even have tattoos?
Nope.
I didn't even think to look for tattoos. That I can see.
So the only thing that I saw that was Siren even close was like but I think it's a firework, is like the firework going off. you know,
Yeah, it's a firework. Yeah, I don't think she has tattoos. She does have the long sleeves on the jacket, so you can't really tell. But that's that's something I didn't even think about.
yeah, it's just interesting. I don't know. It's just I think that a lot of people are saying Jack Black's gonna have to carry the movie. I think that that's yes and no. I mean,
I think they're all capable actors. Sans Kevin Hart, his acting performance is yet to be determined.
right.
And I might be too harsh on Kevin Hart. He's just not my cup of tea as
I mean,
far as
I like
acting
Kevin
goes.
Hart, but I don't know if I see him in Roland. You know what? Think this movie screams to me every time I watch this trailer. Jumanji. I get a very heavy Jumanji style, not necessarily uh like the plot or any of that kind of stuff, but it's like the cinematography, the way that like the characters are interacting, like the new Jumanji. I mean, new Jumanji, like the new
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Jumanji.
about with The Rock and
Yeah, it's very similar to
you
that.
see, I
Like,
like Jumanji too. So
oh, I didn't have a problem with Jumanji, but I would I say that Jumanji is like a great movie? No. Would I say it's a good movie? Yeah. Is it a fun time? Sure. But I get a
I think this
very
will be fun too.
Jumanji-esque thing. It's just
I genuinely do. And I
I hope
say
so.
that in a world where we've gotten movies like the Monster Hunter movie, which are
That was
very
so
hard to
bad.
enjoy.
That was so bad.
Um,
Oh man.
and that might just be me like liking the universe and being more willing to put up with some of the artistic decisions that they've made. I don't think it's going to be the blockbuster of the year. I do think I don't even think it's going to be necessarily as good as like the Mario movie or anything like that. But I think I think there's going to be some fun to be had with it, and I think that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's the nice thing about this is that you have a universe that you can really kind of play with, in a lot of different ways. Like you can be cheeky, you can be, oh, that one might have been a siren ability that we just saw. I don't know if there was some kind of like ability, like something that like force field looking thing that happened around Lilith. But anyway, you have a little bit of freedom and that you can do because of Borderlands, whereas something like Monster Hunter, you don't really have a lot of freedom, right? Like throwing guns into
Nah,
Monster Hunter just don't work. In this you can do some cheeky over the top shit and it still work because of the world, that you've got to play with. So um
yeah,
we'll
I
see,
do
man.
think
I
there
mean,
if there's going to be like I don't think they're going to have as heavy deviation from the lore as Monster Hunter, but you've got me a little bit concerned with the siren powers and stuff, especially considering
yeah, I
we're
don't
not
know
showing
if
a single tattoo or anything like that. Like if they do blatantly go against the pre-established lore like that, there might be some problems more so than just the age factor of the characters. I can look past that more easily than I can getting rid of
right
sirens altogether.
right there. So right here, I'm gonna how do I go
Yeah,
and
there's like a
slow
teleport,
this
which
down?
is
Yeah.
her power. So
So like if we slow this down a little bit, again, this is why you want to be in here when we do this live. You can kind of see like there is a moment right here where she does like it is I don't it's a yeah, it's a that.
warping is her
Yep.
power.
Yeah,
So
that's a so maybe we will get it.
okay, okay, faith restored in the plot. Okay, we're good to
So
go. Okay,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah, that's why you guys got to be here live so we can debunk things in real time. So
So even just still
it's something. It's
I'll
something.
I'll voice Enigma as he's meh meh. I'm actually pretty happy with that. That was pretty kind of spot on. Meh. It's kind of spot on. Kind of happy with that one.
uh,
We'll see.
we'll see how it goes though.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be anything like revolutionary, but I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. Let's talk about something else that is not revolutionary necessarily, but it is a lot of fun. And because it is so much fun, it's kind of giving them some problems. And what we're talking about is good old Helldivers 2. So Helldivers 2 is
Suffering from success.
is literally suffering because they're so popular.
Yeah, yeah.
th-
What an awesome problem to have if you're these devs
yeah,
and Sony for that matter.
yeah, congrats to both of them. I actually, the dev, first and foremost, one of the things that I want to say about the dev for this is, so I showed this to my parents who are, they're boomers.
Mama and Papa.
They're older, right? They're, 60, 65, 70, age range, right?
Okay.
And they're like, oh my God, like, yes, patriotism. And this is like amazing. Like it's a gay America. Like, and I'm like, you have no idea. This is like so satirically on the fucking nose about being like, no, like this is just, no, you don't understand. And they're like, no,
when they
like
say
it's
democracy,
good. Right? Like it's so good to see a game that's really about patriotism. I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. Like, yeah, nothing screams patriotism like going down to another planet and blowing the shit out of everything
genocide.
up.
Yeah,
you get what you want. It's just, it's so good. Like I commend them for their on the nose approach to this, but also to even the fact that like the Xbox fanboys are all like, well, when the fuck are we going to get it on Xbox? Like, why the fuck is it not on Xbox? Like, no, like put it on Xbox. And then the developers like just come out with this meme tweet post that's just like, no, it's like, we're not putting it on Xbox. You guys, like, it was like about their consolidation. It was about like, they literally were just like punching, Microsoft and them in the face. Not that Microsoft was the one that said it, but all the fanboys were one that caused it. And so Helldivers were like,
hell, I've even seen memes of Sony players and like the PC player base being like, we need this on Xbox. We need more reinforcements. We're losing the fight. Give them the game.
Yeah. But at the same time, like I commend them. They're just kind of like, no, like, will it come there? I don't know. Like Sony, is the publisher.
I think it will.
You think it'll go?
I do. I think in 9 months to a year, I think it'll come to Xbox. Genuinely, I think this will be a decent olive branch, just like Sea of Thieves is in the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they don't, I think it would be a misstep. Genuinely,
yeah,
genuinely.
I don't think it needs to happen now for sure. I think
they don't have the server capacity to do it.
No.
They don't need that added load.
It's capped at 450,000 is the amount of people that they're allowing onto their servers. Which again,
that's a ridiculous amount to still be having problems with queue.
An indie dev game, because yes, this is still an indie dev team. Like it had a huge publisher behind it. It had Sony put money, but it's still the original team behind it is still tiny. They yes, the quote indie dev, like you're getting these
more
indie
devs. Than Dave the Diver.
It is more indie than Dave the Diver, but it still had a massive publisher behind it. So give them that. Like, but what I'll say is, like they are doing what they can to kind of survive. And the game is so wildly successful that people are like, oh, we're going to stay logged on so we don't have to get off, so I don't have to deal with queues. And they just released something that was like, yeah, you're going to get kicked if you're AFK, because we need other people to play the game.
People are just going to rubber band their controllers and run in circles, man.
Sure. But here's the thing, is the game is, I'm happy for them. Like I'm ecstatic. This is exactly the opposite of what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. This is a game that is literally simplistic in nature, right? Yeah. It's not super complicated. You go down, you kill a bunch of shit, you do your objective, and you get out, right? But the mayhem, the leveling system, everything just works in its favor.
I'm honestly fascinated by the kind of tug of war aspect of it, in the fact that you're like this group that's being split up among two fronts, soon to be a third front if the devs are to be believed, or rumors or whatnot, but splitting your forces between the two and actually having like a back and forth, like, okay, well, we need to go fight the automatons because they're pushing hard. People go over and start fighting the automatons. Oh shit, the bugs are multiplying too fast. They just took over back 3 worlds that we've already liberated. Like, we're fucked on that side. Got to go back over there.
Right.
Like, that's how you do a live service and actually like make it, like, that's more engaging than a lot of live service games out there actually making like in-game in-universe consequences to either A, people not playing, or B, people funneling one direction or another.
Yeah, well, it makes it like I was talking with my son about it because he just bought it and has been playing it, and we were talking about the whole tug of war system, and I was like, what? Even at the very bare minimum, it makes you feel connected to the rest of the people playing it. Like you see how many people have died, you see how many shots have been fired, you see how many Helldivers are on the planet at the moment. Like, and even though you're only a squad of 4, you feel like you're part of a bigger front. Like you're a bigger,
sure.
and so it's this. Like he was like, oh fuck, I saw that like this piece of like space was like almost taken and I had to go in and do my duty to stop it. And I was
There's nothing more ominous with that game than seeing like the percent conquered bar being in like the 80s and 90s, and then you see it tick forward again. You're like, yeah, you gotta get in there.
Yeah, man. It's awesome. Like it's super cool. It lets you connect to your community. Like Enigma is saying, every time I go into a mission, I look at the Helldiver desk globally and salute their sacrifice for democracy. Like this is the perfect ideology of you don't have to do all of this complicated shit. You can literally just make a game that works. It's fun. It has a really good loop and people will play it, right?
Is not there a battle pass.
There is a premium war pass, premium war bond pass, but Enigma, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you can still get the premium war bond pass. You just have to go through all of the standard warband, right? And then you can go to the premium warband. I think. I don't know. I ended up loving the game so much. I was like, fuck, I'm just gonna give them the extra like $5 or $10 to get the.
You have to buy with premium currency.
The other one.
That's
okay,
the only way to get it. So there is a battle pass ish thing.
Yes, then yes, there is. I didn't know. Like I said, I got the premium one. But you like he is.
But regardless, it incentivizes you to play the game regardless. So
yes, because you also get the.
You're not playing the game
currency.
You're not playing the game for the battle pass. Like a lot of these live service games, you're grinding the game to complete the battle pass. That seems to be kind of a secondary factor, like a little bonus for you engaging with the game world, which is the way it should be.
Yeah, and you get premium currency by just playing the game. You don't have to buy it. But it's just a fun time. But I will say I'm really, and I kind of want your opinion. I also, chat, I want your guys' opinion as well. Post it in the comments down below on the VOD later or on our shorts. But I do want to know, like, how do you guys feel about them getting blasted on Steam for this? Because it's not that the servers aren't working, it's that they're at max capacity. Like they're in a queue, right? Like,
yeah.
So they're getting like right now it's at mixed reviews. And
there's no crash, right?
I have not had a crash. I had a crash the very first day and then I've never had a crash since.
Okay. So the servers are functioning.
Yeah,
it's
functioning
just you're not
fine.
able to get on. Then it's just people being salty. That's all it is. And unfortunately, with a game like this, you're gonna have that kind of an issue. Like it's suffering from success, and people, if they can't log into the game that they want to play, they're gonna leave a bad review on it. It's just human nature.
Yeah. I mean, I also saw an interview with their lead dev when they are talking. They have brought in some Sony engineers to kind of try to alleviate or try to be able to figure out, hey, how do we help this and whatever else. They were very transparent. They're like, look, like it's not necessarily an issue of server. Like, yes, we could go buy server space, right? But they are very open. They're like, server space is extremely expensive. Like servers aren't cheap to just go and ramp up a server. I can't just turn my computer on and all of a sudden have a server for all of these people. He's like, we also don't want to give it to where you yourself are hosting servers, because we want to be able to.
That would be worst case scenario because connection would falter at that point and all that.
Yeah. So he's like, we want to be able to control the experience of what you're getting and really make sure that you have a really pure experience. And we want to make sure that if we are going to onload more servers, that we're not going to have the situation like we have where we onload all of these servers and then now the game starts to, tinker off. And now what do we do with all these servers that we've paid for? It's I don't know. This sucks. you know,
It does. It does. I think them capping the servers was the best thing they could have done for server stability in general, because in theory that fixes a lot of the issues that this article that you've got pulled up kind of is bringing up with the matchmaking errors, the reward bugging. You're not going to have as many of those issues occur if you are running your servers at a stable capacity. And so
yeah. So
they're making the best out of a bad they're making the best out of a bad good situation.
right. So, you know, and actually I will go back to one of the other game developers that we talked about with PalWorld, and because he came out and specifically spoke on these topics. He was talking about like he was being interviewed and was asked about Helldivers' success, and he was like, you know, what does it mean for the state of gaming when you have games like PalWorld and Helldivers that take the world by storm, are wildly successful, you know, and are in the live service space? Like, do you feel like they can still, you know, function? And also, does this mean that live service is back? And also, too, then he was then questioned about, well, hey, PalWorld's seen a huge drop off, you know, in their user base, and like, does that worry you or whatever else? And this is the most,
I love his response.
dude, this response was absolutely gorgeous. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was it you know what it did? It gave me, as a gamer, that warm fuzzy feeling that I used to get a long time ago, which was like, oh, these developers do this for me. They care about me. They care about me as a gamer. It's not about the money. And he goes, guys, PowerWorld was successful, and we love, you know, if you're still playing PowerWorld, we love you. If you're not playing PowerWorld right now and you've moved on, we love you. There are a lot of great games that are out there. We want you to go play them. Go have fun with them. And we'll update PowerWorld when it does. And if you want to come back and experience it, awesome. If you don't, it's okay. Don't feel bad for moving on and playing amazing games that are releasing right now. Like,
Yeah, man.
bro, I mean, gives me goosebumps right now just even saying something like that. Like that, it's just, where
It's pure,
are these?
it's authentic, and it shows that that is a developer that is about the gamer and not about the back end gaming politics of it. Like,
Yeah.
he was completely unfazed by the question. Just be like, yeah, fuck it. You had your fun with my game. You want to go play a different game? Godspeed. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you. And hopefully we can earn you back. If we don't, that's fine too.
Yeah. Like, just so good. So I don't know, man. Just, I commend them. I commend the developer. I commend people like PowerWorld.
Yeah.
I commend developers
And
like
fuck
Helldivers.
you, gaming journalists that make it so that every single game has to be about, oh, the longevity of the game. Oh, this single player game doesn't have 1 million players a month after its launch. Game's dead. Yeah, games like I'm the hunt for clicks on that kind of thing it's getting tired at this point. It's getting as tired as like the difficulty arguments with From Software games or anything like that. Like, it's something that is low hanging fruit that I'm tired of seeing.
Dude, it's games journalism is one of the most predatory, cutthroat, disgusting things out there. Like, I'm sorry, like, if you're a games journalist, I'm not saying that you inherently are a bad person, but I am
But
saying
you're forced into a bad situation
right.
in a lot of situations.
Like, it's very, this is also very akin to like streamers, right, and content creators, that if you're not of a certain level of viewers, right, then you're just not a big enough streamer, right? Or you're not a good streamer or whatever. I can tell you right now, I found some of the best streamers within like the 1 to 2 to 3 CCV range. Like, phenomenal. Love them to death, right? Like, we're all one of those, right? We each are one of those streamers, and our not fan base, our community loves those. And like, so the same thing there. Like, you don't just to arbitrarily put a number to a game or to a creator and be like, oh, because you're this, then you're you know, not successful, or oh, there's a drop off, or you've lost popularity. Like, you're reducing people to numbers, and when you do that, like, that is a terrible thing. Like, there's it's dystopian.
I'm also like inherently tired overall of like the need for negativity in most online spaces. Like, I understand that it's click driven. I understand that that's the reason that they do stuff like this, but I personally like when it comes to gaming, gaming is about an inherently positive experience. Gaming should be about fun first and foremost. It should be about community. It should be about engaging with other people. It should always be a net positive. There are some situations like that King Kong game or Gollum where, yeah, it's fun to take a jab at something that's bad, like objectively bad, but negativity for the sake of clicks, negativity, especially unfounded negativity, like the numbers of players dropping on a title, like it frustrates me and it makes me a little bit embarrassed of where we're at in the space.
Well, I've said it for a long time that I don't think that games journalism should ever give a rating. I don't believe that you should have a scorecard for a game. And hear me out with this, because even Gollum, I bet you that somebody somewhere enjoyed playing Gollum.
And then that's what I actually told somebody in my community like earlier this week. No matter how you feel about a particular game, you could think it's the biggest piece of dog shit ever. You could think it is amazing. Every single game, I almost guarantee, is somebody somewhere in the world's favorite game.
Yeah.
And you can't take that away from them. You can't take that experience away. If they find it fun, who the fuck are you to tell them they are wrong for that?
Yeah.
Who are you to try to degrade them or bring them down for that? And that's what a lot of gaming journalism is about tearing down people for enjoying something. And that's wrong.
Yeah, and one of the things I think that stood out to me with this too is just happened recently, like Suicide Squad. I love Suicide Squad. I really thoroughly enjoy the fuck out of Suicide Squad. IGN pissed me off because they just completely trashed that game. And here's where I'll say, like, I believe in going after a predatory style game or developer or somebody that releases something that is busted, broken. They know it's busted and broken. They don't care or whatever else. Like, completely, that warranted, right? You should, that is okay, right? Like the Activisions of the fucking world, right? The Bobby Koticks of the world, like completely go after them. Like that is, the Logan Pauls, God bless CoffeeZilla for doing The Righteous Fight, right? Those guys, like, yeah, absolutely tear them down because they don't deserve what they've given. But, I think it is one of those things where, Gollum, Suicide Squad, Nightingale, whatever, it may not be your cup of tea. You may not like it or whatever else. And I'm also one, like, I throw jabs. I try to keep it not to like the fact of like
you in Remnant 2.
I don't like Remnant 2. Like, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
But I have matured in my age of doing this podcast and whatever to try not to be like, the game just is fucking terrible. It's a shitty fucking game. Like, no, like it's a bad game for me. I don't like the fucking game. Like, that doesn't mean that Remnant 2 is a bad fucking game. I just don't fucking like it. And here's why I don't fucking like it.
And to put it in perspective from something I'm all too familiar with, I'm a Dark Souls 2 enjoyer. And there is a very large portion of the Souls community that thinks Dark Souls 2 is a mistake. It is the biggest piece of dog shit. It has no redeeming qualities ever. It's my personal favorite of the trio. So I get where you're coming from with that. And those people that don't like Dark Souls 2, entirely valid for their opinion. They can not like it and I can still enjoy it as long as they're not attacking me directly for said opinion. We can have that discussion back and forth. Just keep it respectful.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so I do commend the Helldivers dev team. Like, again, it is a tough problem to have. I hate, and we've all said this, I can't stand fucking Steam reviews. They're some of the worst fucking, it's like 4chan and Reddit, like, of the fucking review place. Like,
that's not too far off,
dude. I'll open it up and there'll be a fucking dick, like just a fucking dick made out of ones and zeros. Like,
I would rather have have the Steam reviews than no reviews at all, though. That
No,
that is one
yeah,
thing. There is value to be gained, even if you have to dig through the cesspit of
I
the review
wish
process.
I wish that Steam would do a better job of being like, hey, you can't review something at like fucking 15 minutes in. You know what I mean? Like, you need to have at least a little bit of more time before you decide to write a review. But I don't know. Anyway, that's an axe I'll grind later. So let's talk about some other stuff that is interesting news. As I don't have a segue here. It's just news that we want to talk about. Respawn is developing a first-person Star Wars game based on the Mandalorian series.
I could see them doing this really well, honestly. Respawn does a few things awesome. Movement being the probably primary thing that they do well, and I think Mandalorian style movement with like the jetpacks, the thrusters, that kind of stuff. I think I'm intrigued. I'm interested to see how they go about it. And honestly, I like a lot of their gunplay. So
do you think that we are going to get a multiplayer version of this, or do you think it's going to be solely just a single player?
well, I could see it going either way. I guess I think it's probably going to go more of a Titanfall style way where there's going to be a heavy campaign to it with some multiplayer aspects tied in. I think the multiplayer will probably be a secondary factor though.
Yeah, I just don't see. I don't know, man. I think Respawn has only done multiplayer games. Like I know that they've done single player content, but they've always had multiplayer.
Every
in all
game's
their
always
shit.
had a multiplayer facet, but I don't see them making anything that's necessarily going to compete with Apex.
Oh no,
on
I don't think it'll be.
that
Yeah,
kind of.
no.
And I'm not saying this is going to be a battle royale or anything like that, but I think that they have that baby. I think this is a good opportunity for them to make another really solid and engaging single player experience, because Titanfall 2 has one of the best first person shooter campaigns that's ever been made up to this point.
Yeah,
So I would like to see more of that.
Have you gone back and played that game, by the way? Like recently?
Yeah. that game has aged so well.
Dude, it holds up beautifully.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
beautifully.
And not enough people talk about it.
No, I'm telling you right now, if you have not played Titanfall 2, like even if you are I don't fucking give two shits about story. I've said it multiple times. But let me tell you something right now. That is a phenomenal game, a phenomenal story, phenomenal, like it looks, feels, plays fucking great. Like that game will stand the test of time. If it doesn't earn some type of lifetime achievement award at fucking a game, one of these game shows, the game award shows, it's a travesty. Like that thing is, it's insane. It's so fucking good. So
yeah, and it's being brought up in chat that Jedi Survivor was Respawn as well, and it's purely single player.
It? I thought I didn't think Jedi Survivor was Respawn. Did they? Are they?
I'm looking at it right now. Respawn Entertainment and EA.
They were the publisher or developer?
Dev.
They're the oh, okay. Well, I did not know that. I thought it was just a I thought they just did multiplayer stuff. Okay, I stand corrected. Cool. Well, good on them then. Then I guess they've got the chops to do single player, and they got the chops to do
I think they really shine in first person shooter, man. I think that's where their crowning achievements are. So this is interesting for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's keep the Star Wars train going and talk about some more Star Wars news, which actually I am very excited about. This is a game that I played very heavily as a during my youth.
Your simulation
okay, sure, we're gonna okay, PC gamer, you're just gonna throw fucking audio right in me, like right out of the gate. So Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection is coming to Steam in March. This is not a remaster that I don't think they're up-resing anything or whatever else. They are basically just saying, hey, we're going to make it online. We're going to make this 64 player. We are going to give you what you want, which is classic Star Wars fucking Battlefront. Not to say that the Battlefronts that we got, the new ones, were bad, right? Like they weren't.
The newest one, once they fixed it, was actually amazing.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
it's not terrible. It's definitely not bad. But I will say, like, it's not Battlefront 1 and 2. Like, I had so much fun. And maybe this is nostalgia. Maybe this is just rose-colored glasses.
I think once you hop back into it, there will be a bit of nostalgia, because while I thoroughly enjoyed Battlefront 2 back in the day, like it was probably one of my first big online experiences. Um, there's gonna be a lot of jank with this that I think is I don't think it's gonna age particularly well. So I am curious to see how this holds up with no technological advances or no like quality of life changes.
Do you think that they are going to um you think they're going to have a big enough audience to actually keep 64 player servers alive?
100%. I think at least for the first few months, 100%. Um, and I don't think the 64 lobbies are going to be like locked in. I think it's going to be up to. I could see as the game ages there being some drop off, but
So I am reading here too that it says the announcement of from developer Aspire confirms the new package will run on Steam Deck, so that's a huge plus. And
Oh, yeah.
there will be support for standard Steam features, including achievements and cloud saves. Unfortunately, there's no mention of meaningful enhancements like crossplay or support for ultra wide. Damn it!
I get fucked.
Now, fuck you.
No
the,
pay to win for you.
The Xbox and PlayStation versions support cross-gen multiplayer, so that's smart. But there's no reference to whether it's storefronts on Steam or cross-platform play. It will be listed at $34.99 for.
That's a good price point, honestly.
Yep. But either way, it seems a little high. The separate Battlefront Classic games go for $10 each on Steam. But okay. Well, I don't know. Either way, I mean, $35. It's yeah. I mean, I think Chad's kind of hitting on something like there's not really an upgrade here. It's just kind of a re-release.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the classics went for $10. So even with the server upgrades and stuff and the crossplay, yeah, that's a tough pill to
I
swallow.
mean, they weren't.
Maybe
Look, they weren't going to drop it for 20. Like it just was not going to happen.
no, but I could see like a 25 or 30.
I mean, maybe it'll be 35, and then it'll go on like.
Do those original versions of the game have active servers right now, or is it purely single player?
You have to go through like a bunch of back end bullshit to get it to work.
Well, there's some value in that then, because I was honestly I didn't realize that those games were still up and available. I was afraid of splitting player base between the two, and this very well still might split the player base up a bit, but official servers are always ideal when it comes to this kind of stuff.
I mean, $35, I'll pick it up because again, I guarantee fucking to you that it'll be 35, and then with a Steam launch discount, it'll be like 29. You'll get it for $29, like $30. So I don't know. I'll buy it. I'll pick it up. I'm down for it. And we're gonna keep in the realm of relaunching older shit, stuff that's just not been around for a while. Let's talk about a game that closed 6 fucking years ago, and has now made a resurgence. Like it is now coming out. So if you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, I am speaking of Gigantic. Gigantic was a hero-based MOBA, so think like Paladins, but an Overwatch, but not like it is more objective.
We did call
based.
this one again, didn't we?
Yep, yeah, we did. And so this game is actually coming out. It's in re-releasing. But it's going before it was I think it was a paid game, or it was a free-to-play game that you had microtransactions that just did not survive. They are now going with a full paid version of the game, no microtransactions at all. Well, at least to start with, no microtransactions.
Right.
And crossplay. So
that's cool.
We'll see.
This game, it looks dope. It looks fun. I honestly forgot about this until just now. So like that this game ever existed prior. Every one of these style games that keeps coming back reminds me of that Gearbox, like a hero shooter that was out and then got dumped, and I can never remember the name of it.
Hold on one sec. Battleborn.
Battleborn, yeah. These all remind me of Battleborn because I was like super excited for Battleborn, and it died before I ever got my hands on it.
Yeah, this and Battleborn came out around the same time. And they were competing in that same space. Played them both, liked them both. Battleborn was a more favored version of mine. Like if I had to choose which one would come out, Battleborn would be the one that I would
Battleborn looked
like
solid.
for it to
It
have.
just, I think the issue with it was lack of like meaningful like content improvements,
Well,
right?
that
Like,
and Overwatch just killed it. Like it just
oh,
Overwatch
that's right,
killed all of it.
Overwatch.
So, I think that's why this game is coming out because they're like, oh, Overwatch 2 is fucking just destroying itself. So why not? Like, we'll see. I don't know. I played the this release version myself and Scruffy did.
Yeah.
First off, it was extremely difficult to get into. Don't know how they're gonna handle that. Like it was not fun to get into and try to play it. It is a it was fun. I say that very kind of like, "Meh."
Yeah, you sound that like you got a gun to your head.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great. I don't know if it was just because the servers were shit or whatever else, but like, it wasn't the greatest experience. Would I drop $20 on this? Sure, and that's how much it's gonna cost. $20. Like,
That's not a bad price
so,
point.
Why
It's not a
not?
bad price point at all.
I'll
And
give
if
it.
more of these types of games succeed, maybe we'll see the return of WildStar.
Oh my god, dude! Every time I see one of these things happen, I'm just like, okay, cool. Like,
That's the only thing I think of, and I never even played WildStar, but I've heard you guys talk about it
I
so much. I'm like,
fucking
if more
need
of
it,
these
man.
like defunct multiplayer games keep coming back, why not WildStar?
Enigma, you shut your mouth. You shut your fucking mouth. It will come out. It'll happen. I don't want to hear it. Oh man. All right. Well, let's talk about another thing that we also predicted. Actually, well, okay, I'll say Enigma, Scruffy, and Bill predicted, and I did not. PlayStation Portal was hacked.
Yeah.
So it is
Yeah.
officially hacked.
Woo! This is very exciting.
Is it?
It is. So what got hacked with the PlayStation Portal is they were able to reverse engineer it and make it so that it can run a PSP emulator. It's PPSSPP, I think is what the emulator is called. Very odd name. We should honestly sue them for too many P's because we're the only ones that are supposed to have that many P's in the name. I digress.
Too many PPs.
Too many PPs. But yeah, so PlayStation Portal natively, mind you, it was able to run a PSP emulator. That's probably about as far as it's going to be able to go as far as native support goes, unfortunately. The deep dive specs of the PS Portal are not amazing. The graphic processor is nothing to write home about. The memory, I think it only has like 800 megabytes of memory, like locally on it. So,
And there's no shot of like
even if
upgrading
you
that,
are
right?
able, you can external memory it. So that is a thing. But even then, like most games, the processor on it's not going to be able to function it at a very good rate. But what this does open things up for is turning this into what it originally should have been, and what probably the PSP that's going to be coming out here whenever Sony decides to actually give us the device we want is it's going to be a cloud device. You can effectively, if things keep going the route they're going with this, it's not currently in the spot where it's at yet, but this could be a full cloud streaming device with any cloud servers that you would want to load onto it, which is again what it should have originally been to begin with.
Every time I see this device, you know what it makes me think of?
What does it make you think of?
The
Tell
Nintendo
me.
Power Glove, the Virtual Boy, all of those pieces of hardware that everybody was like, "Oh, Nintendo Labo," right? Like
Don't talk shit. Don't talk shit on my cardboard, okay?
bro, that Labo. Come on, man. Like
it was neat. It was cool. Like it wasn't marketed for you, man. Like
who the fuck was it marketed for?
it was marketed for my niece and nephew to have fun with the fucking cardboard.
Okay, somebody somewhere. Like I have listened to many
Like that was a fun
podcasts.
thing that you get unwrapped from a Christmas present. You spend Christmas Day putting together a cardboard thing. You play with it for a couple weeks, and then it's done. It's served its purpose. Labo had glee and youthful joy in its heart. This
Labo
is
had somebody going, you know what? Kids like playing with the boxes more than they like playing with the fucking toys. So what if we just made a toy out of the fucking box? That's what Labo had.
at least that had a soul. This does not.
Okay. Sure.
Can you at least give it that?
No.
Like as funny and as weird as Labo was, there is at
soul.
least a soul behind its creation.
I don't know, man. I mean, the only reason I'm like, okay, I'll give Labo a little bit of credit is because I feel like Nintendo is also where From Software's like, design whatever you fucking want in a game. Like as a character, Nintendo's like, I don't know, man. Here's some acid. Design a fucking game. I don't know. Play with some boxes. Like, here, you know what? Let's make Mario Kart into a toy thing that you're gonna set up around your fucking house and like do VR content there. You know what? Let's do fucking Ring Fit. You know what everybody wants to do whenever they're playing video games? They want to work
I
out.
own a Ring Fit. Okay,
Do you use it?
I did for
Exactly.
A few months.
Exactly. But now it's just like my Ring Fit. It sits over in a fucking corner and it collects dust and that's it. Like it just doesn't do anything. So I don't know, man. This is one of those island. This isn't even a misfit toy. This is the island of like dysfunctional dumbass ideas that came out and people just do not need or want.
But there's at least hope that there could be use out of it if you want there to be use out of it. But there's still the Steam Deck and the PlayStation Portable that's going to be coming out, and
taken a tablet.
The affordability of it. This could be a very affordable cloud streaming device if they properly hack it.
What
Probably
is
the most affordable cloud streaming device if they properly hack it.
How much does this thing fucking cost?
$200.
Why is it selling on fucking? It's selling everywhere else for like $280. Why?
Where are you looking?
I looked it up. It's like Macy's $330, Walmart $289, eBay $289. I don't know what the fuck. I see PlayStation Direct is $200.
It's because there's supply issues with it. That's the biggest thing. It's like the PS5 where people were just buying them up to resell. So, but it natively sells at 200. So,
okay, I would just rather buy a fucking. I would just rather buy a tablet or a damn Steam Deck. I don't know.
You can do everything that this thing does on your phone, but better.
Yeah, and connect a DualShock to it, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right. Well, there it is. Rick, take us out. The news is done.
And that's the way.
I have one more little tiddly biddly since we're talking about PlayStation. You saw that the PlayStation VR2, they're testing it with the PC integration and hoping to get it compatible with PC by year's end.
They need to.
That's actually really neat because I still think the PSVR2 is technologically the best VR headset out on the market right now.
I think from a visual quality for sure.
Well, besides Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, but I don't know if I would say Apple Vision Pro is like is truly VR. I think it's a immersive. It's
an augmented reality device.
Yeah. I don't consider
an AR device.
A VR. I would say that the MetaQuest 3, hands down, is probably the best VR system out there as far as all encompassing functionality.
It's wireless. It's accessible.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of good things. But
from
if
a
you're
clarity
wanting,
standpoint, it looks the PlayStation is so good. So
yeah, as long as you don't mind getting tied up in your wires.
Yep. Okay. Now Rick can take us out.
And that's the way the news goes.
Okay, cool. Now, this is so bad. I apologize. I tried something. It didn't work. It failed. Don't worry. We won't do it again. All right.
No, we're gonna give like I said, rotate through. Pick the soundtrack, boys.
Dude, Enigma is flaming right now. His back is just fucking wrenching with like pain. Okay, so we're gonna do our last segment, which is our quick hits. If you're new to the show, this is where we go over news articles, things that deserve a quick, want to talk about. just kind of mention, but don't have a whole segment based to them. So Final Fantasy 14 open beta on the Xbox is live officially. So you can go, if you are a Final Fantasy 14 lover, you can go play it on the Xbox right now. You can do it is the free trial. You don't have to pay for the game. It's an open beta, so go jump in, have fun like that. And I believe that they said that the free trial will transfer over to the live game, so your stuff is not wasted. Skull and Bones' lackluster gameplay has caused a huge surge in Assassin's Creed Black Flag sales for Ubisoft. So, hey, that quadruple A game that cost you $70, just go buy the AAA game that's a hell of a lot cheaper and like 17.
You know the bad thing about it though is Ubisoft's still profiting off of this bullshit.
Yep, 100%. Yep. Warhammer 40K is coming to PowerWash Simulator as a DLC. I have watched the video of it.
I'm excited about this.
It looks really cool. Like,
yeah, man, it looks dope.
PowerWash Simulator is another one of those just things where it's just an enigma in the gaming space. It's just,
PowerWash Simulator is like that kind of. It's honestly reminds me a lot of your Isles of Insight. Like
yeah.
It's just one of those like shut brain off, wash devices. Enjoy.
Yep. Hey, look, if you enjoy it that much, I've got a house you can come power wash anytime you want. So just saying. Yep. It is now Warhammer 40K DLC will be dropping for that. Activision is being sued, if anybody gives a shit, by the Top Call of Duty esports players for a total of $680 million in damages due to a monopoly over the esports scene. A lot of people are saying they don't really care about this, or what does it matter, or what is this about? This is actually not the first time that Activision Blizzard has been sued over their esports categories. They did the same thing with Overwatch and actually won. It's because of the way that they do. It's a monopoly. You cannot have a official sanctioned tournament outside of the CDL, which is owned and operated by Activision. On top of that, they do not allow for other like entities to field teams. So like if you have, for instance, like League, right? You have TSM, you have C9, Fnatic, all of your teams. Well, they're private companies that are, that field a team, right? Anybody could field a esports team within those games. Not within the CDL, not within the Overwatch League. You had to go through Activision to do this. And to get approved, and they had to then in turn profit off of it. So they're being sued for almost $1 million or $1 billion. So
billion.
Microsoft can take that one on. I wonder if they're gonna have to deal with that. I wonder how that
I think
works
they
out.
will. I think they will.
Yeah. It's another reason why I guarantee you that at some point in time, every night, whenever this kind of shit goes through, Phil Spencer calls up Bobby Kotick and goes, "You motherfucker, you piece of shit. What the fuck?
Thanks for causing me more problems, Bob."
Yeah, thanks, asshole. So, in any case, all right, that's it. Guys, episode 113 is wrapped up. I'm actually really proud. For two people on the show, we held it down.
Yeah,
we went over time. So, we held it down. So, thank you to Bill
nice job, buddy.
for being here. Likewise, for being here and casting. If Bill was not feeling too great, it was going to be a solo cast. And I don't know if you guys want to listen to 2 hours of Sen sitting here talking. It would have been fucking crazy. So, in any case, if you are new, welcome. Make sure you slap that subscribe button, ring that fucking bell, comment down below. Go to any of your favorite podcast apps. Check us out. You can catch us on Spotify. We're on iTunes. We are on, is it iTunes anymore? I think it's Apple Music. I don't know what the fuck it's called.
Apple Music.
We're on Google, Twitch, we're everywhere. You can go find us in all the places. Our Discord channel, Twitter, Pre-Patch Podcast, everywhere. Go check us out. You can also find all of us individually at our different channels, whether it's Billy the Squid over on YouTube and Twitch. You've got myself over S1N over on Twitch. You got Scruffy over here on Agent Scruffy on Twitch. And an enigmatical gaming, almost fucked that one up on Twitch as well. But until next week for episode 114, we will see you guys later. Bye. Nope, wrong song.